practice problem number 1. A lot of young children, when they are 2 years old, they are able to count from 1 to 5 or count 1 to 10 or 1 to 20. When we say count, they're just not counting the objects. They can say these words like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 without looking at real objects. But that doesn't necessarily mean if you give them a set of toys, and they can tell you how many there are. And in order to do that, they need to know 2 key pieces of information or knowledge. And which 2? Number 1, here they must be able to make a one-to-one correspondence between the numbers. If you don't want to say an initial portion of counting numbers, you can just say between the numbers, the list of numbers, and each object. Here we're talking about the hearts here. Counting how many hearts here. So all the numbers. So this is the list of numbers. And down here, that's the hearts or any other objects, toys, toy cars, and toy bears, dinosaurs. And they need to be able to set up a one-to-one correspondence between the numbers, the list of numbers from 1 and with the objects they're counting. So that means they cannot skip something, skip counting, or they cannot count something twice. And they have to make sure there's a one-to-one correspondence between the numbers and objects. So that's number 1. And there's also another piece of information. Number 2, they also need to know the last number word they say tells us how many objects there are. And so the story I shared was when my son was 2 years old, and I gave him like 5 toy cars, and he was able to point to each toy and count. He was able to recognize one-to-one correspondence. So he was able to do that. Say 1, so he did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He set up when he was counting, he did, maybe he was not realizing it, but he did have a one-to-one correspondence between the toy cars and the numbers. But after he finished saying all the numbers, when I asked him how many there are, he told me 7. Or sometimes he would just say 10, or just a random number. The problem is he didn't know the last number word he said. This tells us how many. He didn't connect these two things, like how many is the last word. He just thought how many is just a random number. He didn't connect the last number word and how many. Okay, so in order to be able to count how many objects, real life objects there are, they need to know these 2 pieces of information. Okay, they not only one-to-one correspondence, but also the last number they say tells us how many.